began to thin by midday. Sunlight stretched a moment across the ground as if the world were slowly exhaling. Lyra stepped carefully over a patch of covered stones and paused at the top of the gentle rise. Ahead lay a wide, rolling field, rimmed by distant trees and dotted with wildflowers that swayed like dancers in the breeze. There were no signs of people, just space, open and quiet. Ethan got up beside her. "It's beautiful." Lyra nodded. "Eyes standing at horizon. It feels like the kind of place you find when you're not really looking." He smiled. "Or when you're finally ready to see it." She glanced at him. "Do you think that's what we're doing, seeing again?" "I think we're trying," he said, "and I think that counts." They started down the hill, the grass brushing against their legs. The path was barely visible, no just a suggestion in the earth. At the bottom, they came to an old fence, its posts crooked, some leaning, half-lasting vines. Lyra reached out and touched the wood. "How long do you think this has been here?" "A while," Ethan said, "but it's still standing." She turned to him, one eyebrow raised. "Are you comparing me to a fence?" "Insane me, his strength looks different than we think." Lyra let out a quiet log hork, surprised. "That dangerously close to something wise." He grinned. "I had time to think." She climbed over the fence with slow, thoughtful movements. Ethan followed, and their hands met briefly atop the wood. "You okay?" he asked. "Yeah," she said. "Just this feels like the kind of place that doesn't ask for anything. It just is." I didn't know how much I needed that. Inside the fence lay an overgrown orchard. The trees were thick with leaves, their branches heavy with early fruit. Lyra wandered toward one, then looked back. "Let's sit." Just for a minute. They settled under a gnarled apple tree, where dapple light painted shifting patterns on the grass. Lyra sat cross-legged, picking up a fallen apple, bruised but whole. "I used to think healing meant going back to who I was," she said, turning the apple slowly in her hands. "Like there was some me I had to return to." Even watched her carefully. "And now," she shrugged, "now I'm not sure that person ever existed. Maybe I just wanted her to." He reached for the apple. "Can I?" She handed it to him wordlessly, and he took a bite. "I used to do the same thing," he said after chewing, "kept chasing this version of myself from before everything happened. But he was gone, and trying to get back just made me feel more lost." Lyra tilted her head. "So what did you do?" He passed the apple back, stopped running, started listening. "To what?" "To the quiet, to people, to the part of me that didn't need to fix everything, just notice it." She took a bite, then handed the apple back. "It's hard not wanting to fix everything, especially yourself." "Maybe you don't need fixing," he said gently. "Maybe you just need time." She looked away, blinking. "What if time makes me into someone I don't recognize? Then maybe that person deserves a chance." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The air was warm and still, the kind of silence that felt shared, not empty. Then Lyra lay back in the grass, her hair fanning out around her. "Do you think we'll ever stop being afraid?" she asked. Ethan lay down beside her, hands folded on his chest. "Maybe not, but we might get better at walking with it." She turned her head slightly, studying his profile. "You always talk like there's a path forward." He looked over at her. "There usually is, even if it's messy. Even if it winds through a broken orchard and a fence barely standing." She let out a soft, real laugh, and for the first time, it didn't sound like it hurt. "You and your metaphors. They work for me," he said. Smiling, they stayed there until the light began to shift and were now, brushing everything with the golden hush of late afternoon. As they stood to leave, Lyra didn't hesitate. She reached for his hand, and this time held it with quiet certainty. "Where to next?" she asked. Ethan squeezed her hand gently. "Let's keep walking, see what finds us." They left the orchard not in silence, but in something softer torsion traded in half-minutes and shared glances, a rhythm forming where silence had once lived. And as the sun dropped behind the trees, the way of had still uncertain, the distance between them no longer felt like something to close. It felt like space made for two.